Hey everyone, Dr. Tyrell Detweiler here with Hybrid Performance Group and Team Elite FTS. And today we're going to show you a very simple stretch that you can do, traction that you can do on the hip to help open up that hip joint and add to a psoas stretch that everyone already kind of uses. So to do that, we're going to utilize an Elite FTS band. We're going to use an average band. Now you can also use a smaller band like a light band to get this distraction. I choose to use it just because it gets me to that point where I feel that distraction quicker. So to set this up, what we're going to do is we've already got this band attached to some sort of solid platform. So in this case we're using a bench. You could also use a rack. You can even use a pillar if that's something you have in your environment. So big key notes to make sure is obviously any attachment that you're creating here, we want to make sure it's bolted down or actually can handle that weight. So we're good to go with this bench. But to start this out, simply all you got to do is stick your foot within this loop. All right. And what we're going to do from this position is we're going to bring this band up as high as we can into the groin region, basically trying to get it as close to the hip as possible. So a lot of people may think their hip is like out here, but in reality, that hip is going to actually travel and is going to be right at about this location. So we want to get right on top of that hip joint in order to create kind of like a scooping motion once we get into the stretch. So we're going to get to that position. We're going to create some tension by walking out. So we're going to go ahead and walk out a little bit, and we're now starting to get some pull within that hip. Now we can actually use this pull back on this distraction to help ourselves out by then going into a very common psoas stretch, or even a couch stretch if you had something like a bench to put behind you here. So we're going to go right into that hip stretch down to one knee, right? And we're going to basically push the hips forward. We can even add more to that by reaching above. And again, what we're looking for is just to add a little bit of traction to that hip joint to help that stretch kind of accentuate that stretch. So we can push into that position, right? And we're going to feel that stretch in the psoas. Now obviously if you're someone who doesn't have a tight psoas, you may not feel this as much. But again, this is just another way we can utilize these bands and something that we might not be, in a way we might not be thinking to help from recovery purposes. If you're someone that really has a tight psoas for basically stretching purposes and trying to increase that range of motion to where we're not being limited by a range of motion problem in the joint. So pretty simple, but that's sometimes the best thing. So this is how you're going to utilize a band to go ahead and create a addition to your already used psoas stretch.